In the Shadow of No Towers, the comic book is essentially a point of departure for me for this piece. It takes inspiration from very detailed aspects of the comic. The first movement captures that one sequence of the new normal, where you see every family basically asleep in front of a TV. In the middle panel, you see them witness the catastrophe. So you get the idea that there's a possibility that this might lead to a change. In the third panel, they go back to the way they were in the first panel, but the only thing that has changed is the calendar is replaced by a flag. In terms of the immediate days following the attacks, I think there was a great sense of possibility for us, and I think that we really did feel like we would take this opportunity to come together as a human race, that we would come together for the common cause of humanity. And we imagined that in the days following it, there would be symbols that would proliferate like globes. And then we saw really provincial symbols start to come up. And then we started getting scared. The second movement is called Notes of a Heartbroken Narcissist. And it sort of is a small panel in grayscale. And to sort of mimic the use of grayscale, I use just the percussion and the piano and the double bass. I don't use all the colors of the wind ensemble like I did in the first movement. And what you hear in that movement at the very beginning is quite literally the scraping of metal and steel. It's a very, very eerie sound. That's achieved with the cymbals, as you saw, scraping their instruments with a coin. In a way, that movement is really, really introspective. It's an elegy. I don't know if this has ever been done, but I decided to write for two wind ensembles at once. The United Red Zone of America and the United Blue Zone of America, and they're sort of pitted against each other. And this is inspired by a detail in the comic on the polarization between red states and blue states. So you have, in the book, you have a group of urban dwelling people coming at a group of basically rural background type people, and this sort of idea that these two sides are going to clash. It's basically like being divided into two countries. That movement is really a political satire. Both sides sound, in my piece, sound equally ridiculous and childish. And it's really convenient for two reasons that I'm writing for wind ensemble, because this is, first of all, a uniquely American medium. And secondly, it's a medium where it has a history of patriotic music and marching band music. The fourth movement, the finale, is called Anniversaries, and it's about the passing of time. The movement starts with the ticking of a clock at quarter note equals 60, which is what the clock ticks at. That continues throughout the movement. It grows larger and larger and larger. And what Art says in the comic is the towers have come to, with every year they get larger. They loom larger than life. With every anniversary, the towers attain this sort of mythic status in our imagination. And we move further and further away from the realities of life and death on that day. From being worried for your friends, from being confused, concerned, hurt. all of those human emotions sort of drift into the background, and more this becomes a cultural thing, a cause that we're using for all sorts of different purposes.